Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm Jimbo, your host. This week's episode is brought to you by autofiber.com. They have a very cool Towel of the Month club that you could sign up for. It's very inexpensive, and basically you get a new towel every single month, and it gives you an option to kind of sample a variety of quality microfiber towels for I think it's like $25 a year. Yeah, that's right. Not a month, a year. And if you use code Jimbo, you can even save money on top of that. So you can check that out at autofiber.com. And let's get into this episode. This episode was done at Meguiars headquarters in Irvine, California. They were gracious enough to have me come down there, which was amazing. And I really, really appreciate their time to sit down with me and do it. I was there for 3.5 hours. Got a grand tour I saw stuff that I don't even know if I could say that I saw. So I'm not going to go into that, but I saw some very legit stuff, and we kind of hint at that in this episode. But it's more about the Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax, and we kind of talk about that. And so was a very enjoyable episode for me to do with Mike and Mike, who I think should become characters and icons for Meguiars, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy this episode. And check out autofiber.com. Don't forget, if you do, use code Jimbo. So with that, it's hot. Uh-oh. So don't talk about any of the stuff that we just talked about.
Don't touch it. It's hot.
I can't tell you what I've been here an hour, and I can't talk about anything.
We have no idea what you're talking about.
No idea. And if you hear any note, we're in the training room at Meguiars. Sorry, I guess I should have led with that. And they are testing some products. They may or may not be testing products. But if you hear background noise, that's what's going on. But I'm here with Mike and Mike.
Yeah.
And you are not allowed to look out into the other room.
Do I need to cut that out? Yeah, the blinds are closed. I hear buffers running, so I'm assuming things, but you know what they say about assuming, right?
Well, it's a podcast, so we'll walk the
mic over, and show you.
Let you listen to new products being tested and tell us what you think they are.
Yeah. You know, it's happening.
Guess that product.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Just by the sound, yes.
That one's got an extra 0.5% drag on the tool.
Right.
I can hear.
You know what though? That would be super fun. Like watch him use it and maybe feel it or
smell it,
which I guess that's what's getting hard with 110, right? You feel 110 without knowing what it is.
You wouldn't think it does what it does.
You wouldn't think it does what it does. But anyway, so I'm gracious for the tour around.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
And it's always fun. We always never have an issue talking. There's never dead air, which is fun.
Is that good or bad?
So that's a good thing.
Okay, good. Just check it.
Usually have more energy after we talk than
good.
Which is crazy to me. I think it was with you. It happened both times at SEMA. I don't think this last year, but the year before, I was kind of worn out, like SEMA tends to do, and then I sit down with an interview for you guys, and I have more energy. So I appreciate it.
It's infectious.
I brought coffee as a backup, just in case you guys couldn't deliver today.
We are caffeine. We are caffeine. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to lead with was, and I feel like it's almost becoming the dead horse, but the hybrid ceramic wax, right? And the videos we just talked about before we started recording on YouTube are doing extremely well, right? Especially for a product that just launched under a year ago, right? Well, it's maybe even 6 months. How long has it even been out?
Launched at SEMA.
Launched at SEMA, so
7, 8
8. But it hasn't been out in the wild that long, right?
Since about January.
Since January. So about 6 months, I guess.
Right.
When you guys were internally developing or talking about the products you're going to launch at SEMA, right? Mm-hmm. You have the Iron Decon, the 3-in-1, the hybrid ceramic wax. Was there any more?
There was a bunch more. Yeah.
They're all right there on the shelf.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
the memorable
9.
ones.
The memorable ones. Wow.
Are you saying the rest of them are not memorable?
All of our kids are memorable. What are you talking
Shoot. Sorry about that.
No, those are...
The tire dressing or the aerosol
insane.
It really is insane.
It's deserving of that name.
It is deserving of that name.
Ultimate Insane Tire Shine.
Yeah, and we could talk about the purple soap at Costco and the sprayable tire shine at Costco, which I both think are two huge winners.
Good.
Anyway, did a video on that too for you guys.
The Ultimate Insane Tire Shine is kind of like I like to say it's like the NXT Insane Tire Shine with more insanity added to it.
It really is insane.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I saw it again that it was named Insane. It really is insane. It's a lot of gloss.
I was showing pictures and video when I was in China, and I looked at it and said, this looks like we just hosed it on, and it's got to be, a quarter of an inch thick on it, but it's not. That's like proper application, and it's not slinging off. And they're looking at it going, you got to be kidding me. That's insane.
It doesn't. Even the one at Costco, whatever the aerosol's called at Costco in the 3-pack, tire shine something. Like you would think that out of an aerosol and spraying it on the tire, it would sling. It doesn't sling at all. No. Anyway, so
we do our best.
Anyway,
and for those of you out there, okay, we know I'm sure, Jimbo, that most of your listening audience is probably the kind of person that would never admit to liking a high shine.
Of course, right? I do. I love high shine,
but secretly,
because we know in the kind of general consumer space, a high shine is just adored, right? So any of you that are listening that don't like to admit that you like a high tire shine, this is a safe place.
Yes,
and you can say confidently and safely, I like shiny tires.
Say it out loud right now with us.
Well, say it loud and proud.
The ultimate hack car wash is to clean your rims and dress your tires, and that's it.
Looks like it was just detailed.
I just detailed my car. I just detailed my car. I've done that so many times, like right before I roll up to a client's house, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you just wash your car?" And I'm thinking to myself, like, "Oh my gosh, what a hack!"
He only knew.
Such a win. Such a win. And people go, "Oh, don't you clean the windows too?" I'm like, "I don't. That's too much work, man. Like, clean the rims and dress the tires." So. But anyway, back to I knew we would have fun, and this would be no problem.
What were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
And if you really don't like high shine, we still make M40.
Don't worry. We are at Meguiars. They have something for everyone, right?
Legendary M40.
Yeah, but the ceramic hybrid wax. Did you guys think that it was going to do what it's been doing? And I guess I don't know sales aspect of it, but I can only imagine with multiple videos and hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube that it's selling pretty decent.
It's doing well. It's doing well.
But did you guys, obviously, that's awesome, right? But did you expect that?
I don't.
Or do you always, is it always expected? Is there like a guesstimation? Do you think?
It's funny, every now and then, a product for whatever weird reason flops when we thought it was going to be really good. And then other times it's like, this is probably going to be a killer product, and it's a killer product. Right. But I think this one, certainly the level of chatter that it's getting, I don't think we really thought about.
Yeah, that's really where it pegged the needle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why? Is it because or do you guys have an idea of why? Like, I don't even understand. I did a video on it, and it's like over 200. Like I said, Pan did a video. It's almost at 1 million. And we're talking in a 6-month span. That's a lot, Why? Because it's Meguiars and it's called ceramic?
I think...
Is it literally that simple?
I think in some ways it is literally that simple. I mean, the whole SiO2 and ceramic thing is kind of the huge buzz.
Yeah, it's the new clay bar, right?
Yeah,
that's what I think.
It's like the microfiber,
but
new
it's
clay
the new
bar.
microfiber, right?
It's been around for probably a lot longer than most people want to give it credit for, right? The whole SiO2 ceramic glass coating, whatever the heck you want to call it.
Even silica, right?
I don't know. Silica's been around for...
Because it's kind of interesting that we started with tire shine, because doesn't tire shine have silicone in it?
Well, silicone versus silicon dioxide is two very different things.
Okay, got it.
From a chemistry level.
And I'm not a chemist at all, so we're going deep out of my...
Two very different... They're kind of closely related, but they're two very different things.
Okay.
But technically, there's different silicon dioxides in a variety of products that we make, but it's in there as a raw ingredient that's designed to do something other than what you think of SiO2. Think of SiO2 really as more the base chemistry when you're talking about coatings and hybrid ceramic wax and its competitors. But I think, like you said, is it getting this level of popularity, this much traction, this much chatter, because it's finally Meguiars having a ceramic something? And I think a lot of that's true because we are as big as we are in the marketplace, and ceramic coatings have been exploding in popularity, and a lot of people have been asking us, when are you guys going to come out with one? And we don't come out with this full ceramic coating for the masses. We come out with this spray-on product, and it's just gotten a lot of people talking.
Which addresses, it's funny, the market, I don't say the market, but the DIY market, it's changed a little bit because think of the old days of compounding, polishing, waxing. That still takes place, we know that. But consumers are always looking for ways to do things easier. And that's one reason why we made it a spray. So you kind of blend technology, awareness, coating, ceramic, ease of use, and it kind of just added up to, and let's not forget, it actually works really well.
Right. Yeah, it beats water insanely well. And that's, I think it's also a testament to this blend of like consumer professional markets that are starting to, I think, blend together, probably because of the internet, right? Like
Absolutely.
everyone has access to everything,
Yep.
right? So I think we're seeing like a mix of this, like the consumers using professional stuff, but then I've been surprised at how many professionals are using the consumer
Whether they
stuff.
like to admit it or not.
I was just gonna say, but you would never catch anyone dead, like any professional, quote unquote, like using a consumer grade product. Like, no, that's for consumers. And I think it's been really interesting to see, because I always looked at it like consumers trying to use professional products, not professionals trying to use consumer products, right? Which I think is great. Because it's so easy to get.
Whatever gets the job done quickest, easiest, and best.
Right.
100%, right? So, got it. So, and then I was just thinking as we were talking, the viscosity of the product. Did you guys play in development with like thinner, runnier consistencies, or like what? Kind of maybe walk us through. I'm digging for like a different angle to this than just like tell us about it, which I do want to know about it, but like. Take me back to the development of it, as much as you can.
So unfortunately, we have to turn this off while we talk, and then we'll turn it back on.
And
we'll do it.
I didn't preface you guys at all with any questions. So as much as you can, like, why did it land on what the current formula, as everyone knows it and uses it as? How did you guys land upon that as far as thickness, smell, color? Like, what was the kind of
genesis of
all that?
Well,
like, was it ever yellow?
Smell and color is something that we sometimes stress over with just about any product that we make, right? Because it has something to do with the overall user experience and whatnot, but it isn't really necessarily important in the performance of the product. So we talk about performance of the product, the viscosity of it actually does play to the performance of the product, and it's a balance of active ingredient, stability of product, how much of this do you have in, how does it work, what do we need to do to make it behave and give the kind of result that we want. And I think we had a couple of earlier iterations that were just kind of a royal pain to use, actually.
Can you talk about like what maybe not specifics, but like what was it, too thick so it wouldn't spray out of the bottle? Was it too thin and it would run off the panel? Like what, or can you not talk? Okay. Got it.
All the above.
All the above.
Yeah,
right?
all the
yeah,
above.
Not in all seriousness.
So did it ever start like? So whoever gives Mike, right? Mike and Mike.
Yeah, I was like, yes.
Mike, try this. Let us know what you think. What was your earliest? Maybe you didn't even know that it was going to become ceramic wax or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, do you remember the first iteration that you guys got of it? And was it thick? Was it runny? What were your like initial thoughts when you're looking at a blank bottle? Or maybe you have information that you kind of know what it is. But like, do you remember that first initial time you tried it?
I remember the first time I tried it was I was shocked that you could literally, if I didn't see it from eyes, spray a product on and take water to effectively spread it across the rest of the surface. If somebody would have just told me that, which I knew about it before, you're kind of scratching your head going, is this even possible?
So what were like the first, so they give you a product and what did they, how much do they explain to you?
Quite a bit.
Okay.
So we kind of know who's for, who's marketed towards, the use of it.
Got it.
Because it's always, obviously, there's a lot of different people out there that use products a different way.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of understand, put the hat on of who's going to be using this.
Got it. Okay.
So you got to start there. So we get briefed on that.
Okay.
And then it becomes, try this out, see what you think.
Yeah,
what would you change and why?
Okay.
All that fun stuff.
And in this case, we had to be kind of told this is how you have to apply.
That's correct, because it was such a new technique.
So
right.
If it's like when, I remember when Ultimate Quick Detailer first came out. It was actually the year before I started working here. It was here, try this, use it like it's a quick detailer. Okay, so everybody knows how to use a quick detailer.
Right.
But you can't say with hybrid ceramic wax, with this whole new application for a paint protection product, you can't just say use it like a quick detailer, because that's not the way to use it.
Right.
You can't say use it like a spray wax, because that's not the way to use it.
Because then the user experience sucks.
Then 110, it's like, we're working on this new compound. It's a compound, see what you think.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you know how to use a compound.
Yeah. Right.
So this one was a little unique because it's such a new application process.
Yeah, such a new habit almost, I guess.
And is the like I mentioned, I just watched your video with Mike Phillips and kind of explaining the application process, and a thought that I had, and maybe this is a tangent, but whatever. is the application process not becoming, but is it a little bit of a barrier for people to overcome and understand? Like, is it kind of a hassle? No, I don't want to say hassle, but is it kind of like a inconvenience that the application is what it is?
Well, I think it depends on the user. If you're someone who's been kind of really involved with the detailing world and you understand how some of this stuff has, because it's not the first product of its type to hit the market.
Right.
It is different viscosity. You've put it head to head with several different products, and I'm pretty sure it's the only one that comes out as thick as it does.
Yeah,
isn't it? Right?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything thicker.
A lot of people who have complained about the product, virtually is almost wrong. Every person that I have talked to, I don't even want to say virtually every person, literally every person that I have personally spoken to who has complained about streaking and whatnot with the product, when I push them and find out how much product they use, even a buddy of mine up in Northern California, Josh, if you're listening, you know who I'm talking about. He called me up and he said, dude, this stuff was, it was streaking. I couldn't get it off the car. I'm like, it sounds like you really used too much. He says, what do I do? I said, get up, just wash the car. He says, but it's going to rain. I said, cool, even better. Park the car outside, let it get rained on. He said, you're kidding. I said, no, you literally didn't get off all the carrier ingredients, and that's why. He called me back that night and went, dude, it's amazing. The streaking's gone. The water beating is off the charts. It's incredible.
The water beating is insane.
How much did you use? And he admitted to using half a bottle. We're like, okay, so you used enough for 7 or 8 cars probably.
I get so much heat on one of my videos with it in because on I use a door. I need to get a hood, but I use 2 sprays on like basically a quarter of a door panel. Yeah. And I forget what I compared it to, maybe a turtle wax product or something. And theirs is really thin, and I use 7 sprays, right? There's so many comments of people like, whoa, that's not fair. You use 2 sprays of Meguiars, 7 sprays of them. And I'm like, it's gotten to the point, I don't even know how to respond. Like, guys, there's only so much product that can actually be in a certain surface. Right? But it's to that point, it's because 7 sprays of the hybrid wax on a quarter of a panel would be way too much, right?
Oh,
yes.
Well, I think,
that's an understatement.
I think where the confusion comes from, especially because I think it's more often than not, it's kind of your average consumer that's got the issues with it. And, if you're used to using pretty much any other paint protection product, spray waxes, liquid waxes, paste waxes, you cover the entire surface of the car with that product.
Right.
Okay. So when that's been in your mindset for 10, 20, 40 years, you go to spray this on, it comes out fairly thick. You get that blue blob that's on, and you think, well, I've got to have that much on pretty much every square inch of the car. And we talk about testing of the product, okay? When we did 2 trigger pulls on the front door of a car, and then we rinse it off, spraying towards the back of the car, and then we look at the water beating on the front door versus the back door. And remember, we didn't spray any of the product on the back door.
Right.
We look at it and go, well, the water beating is the same. Whoa. That's because we sprayed it on the front. It's literally getting carried down the side of the car.
So did that step of the instruction, so in the development of it then, did that step, like the spray and rinse off, come later? Was that not the initial plan for it?
No, that was the initial.
It was the initial.
Yeah, absolutely. A product like that.
Got it.
It's just to show how much it spreads.
Gotcha.
If you look at the YouTube video that we have internally that Meguiars did.
Okay.
Did it out here in the garage.
Yep.
And I'm showing the application of the product. Spraying it on the hood of the car as you rinse it off. If we do a demo where it's side by side, and I did this with Mike Phillips at AutoGeek, we spray the product onto half the hood. You have to rinse it off the hood. You can't spray it in the direction of the side that you have not treated, or you will treat that side. You want to have a control side and a treated side.
Right.
You better not rinse towards your control side, or you blow the whole
Blow
thing.
the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the only way that we can get it still sheeting on one side while it's beading on the other, and it will bead immediately, as you've noticed.
Insanely good, and I think to the testament of it being a consumer grade. I don't even like that term, consumer grade, but
consumer focused.
It needing to be a consumer focused, knowing that it's going to be in the hands of consumers using it as a spray on, rinse off. I don't think there's any product in the market that is as user friendly as a spray and rinse as that is, right? Most of these, like, you need to have a pressure washer, you need to work out of direct sun, right? And I'm like, there's all these. I see them in the comments, and I'm like, guys, I don't know about you, but like, I can't always wash my car at 6:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. during the summer in the shade, like when the panel is like not hot to the touch. It's like all these things. I'll just never wash my car, right? So I think from a user experience standpoint, I don't think there is a friendlier, a more user-friendly product than that.
Well, it's funny you kind of say that because you talked about what drove the development of this, and all those things come into play. Like who's using it, how are they getting, what's their education, what are their expectations, what are we trying to address in addition to this cool technology?
Right.
How do we kind of marry those two and make it work for everybody?
Yeah, because you can't retrain everyone. It's kind of like the water sheeting versus water beating like argument. And when I tell people is like, you can't retrain the whole industry. It's insane.
Car wash
right?
with no suds.
I mean, you can't do it, right?
Exactly,
Yeah, great
right,
point.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so, like you talk about educating the consumer or educating the end user, right? Like you can't make it sheet water. They would think nothing's there.
Unless you take the sprayer off and flood it.
Well,
But then it goes 100%. There you go.
Right?
Define
I'm
cheating.
teasing
Yes.
And I tease in my videos. It's like depending upon how your water,
How you spray
how
the
you
water.
spray
Yes.
it,
Right.
depends
Make it do what you
get,
want.
right?
Yeah. Surface tension.
Which
right?
is crazy, which no one's ever called me out on. So you're doctoring
But
it.
when you get an extreme hydrophobic situation and you've got that car in motion, you're getting rained on and you're driving.
Right.
That it almost becomes self-cleaning
Yes.
when
Right.
you've got an extreme hydrophobic situation.
Which is what tunnel washes do as like a drying aid, right?
That's
or rinse
correct.
aid. They
That's
have
correct.
it as
That
the
last-
last
that's
step,
correct.
right? To spray on the car, which usually makes a mess on the car. Which I wondered is that where these spray-on, rinse-off products come from? Is like the tunnel wash, and I don't know, right? Because I have like a touchless tunnel wash by my house, right? And I run my wife's car through it sometimes, and I realized that like,
runs his wife's car through.
never mind, I'm way too picky.
Too many people listening. Never mind. Never mind.
You know what? I actually did a couple times, but I realized you have to get the cheapest option because if you get the more expensive one, like $1 more, right? Yeah. It's not the dollar. It's that they drip that crap on your car, the rinse aid or the dry aid or whatever, and it makes a mess. And then when I tried some of the other spray and rinse products, I'm like, wait, I've seen this before. Like the streakiness is from the tunnel wash. If I get like the hot wax or whatever they call it.
Concept has been around a long time, but think of quality of stuff that's being applied.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Sorry, I know I'm like teetering a very fine line on multiple fronts. So
On multiple fronts.
but I'm trying to. Anyway,
Mic check,
whatever.
1, 2.
Yeah,
mic
yeah.
check.
Are we still on?
You're a long way from us shutting this down and throwing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
out.
No, I know.
You're not close to the edge at all.
And I'm not even going to get close.
Wait, don't go out that door, though, whatever you do.
Yeah. It's like, don't look over there. What? It's like, my eyes aren't looking over there. It's like, turn your head, stupid.
That's why we walked one in front of us and one behind you.
I gotcha.
I literally
I
did
wasn't
turn
even
your
gonna
head.
bring that up. So I guess where is there like any plans? Gosh, all the questions that come to my head are stuff that you guys can't answer, right? Like, is there any plans to bring it to like a professional side of things, or is it good? I think the price point makes it like plenty usable for professionals, but is there like bigger? What does I'm like thinking of these. I'm like, that's such a dumb question. Like,
No, it's not. It's
But
not
like-
it's not a dumb question, but
like so ultimate all-wheel cleaner, right? I think is a phenomenal product, right? Then you guys launched the professional version of Iron Decon,
yeah, D1801.
right? Which whatever, maybe it's a different formula,
Much
maybe it's
different formula.
whatever, right? I don't care because it is the same thing. Right? So whether the formula is, because I like all-wheel cleaner,
Right.
I think it works great on paint. We've
does.
talked about that
Yep,
at SEMA, right?
absolutely. People do
works-
it.
It works great on paint. So, but similar to how you launched Iron Decon after having that product, which a gross overstatement is they kind of do the same thing.
Well, yeah,
You guys are both like, no.
No, you're right. They do kind of do the same thing, but
Oversimplified.
That's
yes,
a
'cause
perfect way to say it.
You know.
the downside to using Ultimate All-Wheel Cleaner to decon the entire body of the car
You're gonna use
is
the whole
it
bottle.
sprays out in a kind of a gel
Yeah,
formulation,
right.
And so it doesn't really spread out on the body panels
Got
of the
it.
car the way you would want it to for that application.
100%.
So that's part of what we tweaked with D1801 was to kind of reduce that viscosity, take away some of the gel sort of consistency so that it does spread easier, but it's also got a higher load of whatever that chemical is
Yeah.
that reacts with
like
iron
or whatever.
But it's got other cleaners in it as well, and all that's kind of amped up. So
But so in that same vein, right? If
Yeah,
we're gonna,
I was hoping you weren't going to steer back to.
He's bringing us right back.
I'm coming right back.
I'm coming back.
But,
I'm coming back.
Because it's interesting. You said like Joe, like formulated. It's a little bit thicker, like, and I can't help but think about a parallel of like.
Oh,
okay,
you're trying to make a connection. Stop it.
So take the hybrid ceramic wax in its current formula.
Right.
If what would like the professional, like similar to Iron Decon is to Ultimate All Wheel Cleaner, is what would be an equivalent to hybrid ceramic wax, but in this like professional? Would it be a thinner?
I'm going to tell you that while my boss is sitting next to me.
I think November 5th might be the answer
Got
to
it.
that one.
Okay, got it.
Tuesday, November 5th.
All of a sudden, Mike got his phone out. He's like, "I'm not answering this one."
I was looking for when SEMA starts. So,
You are
Does
not-
it start on the 5th this year? Wow,
on
later.
Tuesday. Yeah,
Okay.
it is kind of
Yeah,
reset.
there's no October date.
Yeah.
for Siemens here yet.
Thank God. This
So,
Halloween.
well, it's actually like starts on election day, doesn't it? Yeah, first Tuesday after the
Yes,
first Monday
that's
in November.
correct, yeah.
It starts. Yeah.
Interesting.
You're not the first person to ask about a pro version of hybrid ceramic wax. I've had several people.
Is that
ask
why you're not
me-
letting me in the training?
No.
Just-
No.
Don't open that door!
And anything.
Get away from
Man! All right.
Security code 4. Security
Here
code
we
4.
go. Okay. Wow,
No.
this is all making
If-
sense now.
If
If you guys only knew what I knew.
If there was anything out there, it would be unlabeled other than a lab batch number on it. You'd have no idea what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And you necessarily
No,
couldn't tell
and-
what they were.
no.
But if we get enough, if there's enough demand for something like that,
Anything's possible.
you never know.
Let's put it that
You
way.
never know. And if we did come out with a pro version of it, how different might it be? And would it be thicker
Yeah.
and diluted? Would it be thinner? And
Yeah,
more-
I guess what-
who knows?
Who
What-
knows?
You know,
I
whichever.
guess I don't even know what I would want.
Whichever way, bingo,
Right?
And
Like,
how
I
can
don't
we
even-
make
yeah.
something?
I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
So if we did something like that, you release it one way,
Right.
there's going to be people like, oh, you should have gone this way.
Of
if you go
course,
that way,
right?
people, yeah,
Of course.
whatever.
One product I do want to talk about. Well, maybe should we keep it to the spray waxes and whatever. The wheel and tire cleaner, or the wheel and tire where you can dress the tire and
The
clean
waterless
the rim.
wheel, ultimate
Okay,
waterless wheel.
what am I
tire.
doing wrong? Because I can't get it to work on a rim. It's very oily for me. Am I using too much?
You're just not, maybe too much, and you're not wiping it off thoroughly enough.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Because I even commented on like Meguiars' social media, like, let's be honest, this product's not really a winner.
It depends on how you use it
But I
and what
think
your
it could be a
expectations
winner,
are.
right?
Yes.
It is
Because I do like the
admittedly
rim and tire,
an
like I
idea.
mentioned,
Concept.
like a quick wash, right?
Yep.
Like clean the rims, dress the tires. So I was like, wow, one
This could
product,
be it.
like, yeah, but I
So
cut you off.
I can get you a couple of photographs that I took before and after on a black and machined and then clear coated
Okay.
Mercedes AMG wheel that looked like on this Mercedes in Shanghai a couple of months ago. The car looked like it hadn't been washed in 6 months. It was absolutely disgustingly filthy. And I have before and after pictures of the right front wheel and tire on this car. And it was so dirty that I used enough product to get our marketing department looking at me like I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
But, you know, the dirtier something is, you can't just lightly miss something.
Right.
So I got fairly generous and I got all the grime off, but the black parts of the wheel looked a little streaky and not all that great.
Right.
So I then lightly misted, mean
Okay.
like a real light mist.
Right.
Came back with a clean towel, buffed those back down.
Got
and
it.
There's curb rash on the wheel. Sorry, the product isn't going to fix that. Don't
What?
blame me for the curb rash on the wheel.
November 5th.
New product.
Curb rash.
right.
Spray on curb rash.
CRR.
It's gonna dress the tire, fix the curb rash.
And check your air, too.
It's going to be $175
Yeah.
for 16 ounces, but you know, it's
For
miracle
what a
on
deal.
both.
Right.
But the change to this wheel, and yes, I did have to give a light mist because it
Sure.
is a little bit oily, but the way it breaks down the dirt, the road grime,
Okay.
and everything else, and then being able to dress the tire. And I've got 35 Chinese detailers looking around at this thing going, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" And they're elbowing each other out of the way to get in and get pictures of it when it's done. And the before and after pictures that I have are completely untouched. They're actually up on the forum now.
Okay.
And I can get them to you if you want to.
Yeah,
use
I
them
mean,
for whatever reason.
what made me think is like when you're working on an interior, right? Say like a mat that's thrashed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to work in layers, right? You got to peel back the layers of the onion,
some-
right?
yeah,
So
sure.
when you said that, like you oversaturated it to get the bulk of it off.
Right.
You're kind of it's like detailing in general, right? Like sometimes it gets a little ugly before it gets real pretty, right? So that's what, and I haven't given it the opportunity like that. Like make it a little ugly first, and then missed it.
In this case, I needed to because the
Right.
wheel
It
was so bad,
dirty,
yeah.
Got it.
Right.
Right. Which
But
makes total sense, though.
you think about it. If your windshield has a lot of crud on it,
Right.
Okay. Like mine does right now because you get road grime that settles on it, and then we get heavy dew overnight.
But you don't
so
wash your car every day?
No, not every day. If you just lightly spray a little glass cleaner on there, it's
Right.
not going to be enough to clean it. If you
Good
kind of
point.
overload it with glass cleaner, and as
Yes.
you're wiping, your towel's wet and you still got dirt, and then you just leave that, it's going to be a
Right.
stinky mess.
Right. Right.
It's not the fault of the glass cleaner.
Right.
It's how much did you use? How much did you need to use for the
Mm-hmm.
task at hand? And then what do you do to go back and solve that? You've got a little residual dirt. You give it a light spray at that point. Go over it with a dry towel.
Right.
And
That
everything's
makes
great.
total
Same
sense.
glass cleaner, but it looks like $1 million now.
I wouldn't
Right?
know. I just use the
Same
brush at
thing
the
with-
car wash, at the gas station.
Yeah. But that's good. Your audience is real detailers.
Yeah.
We're talking to them.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not. I just talk about
I have a
detailing.
photo of that, by the way, of you doing that. You didn't see me take it?
It's usually just my wife's car.
Wow. Wow.
Just kidding. So
It's an unusual product.
it's
Yep.
very cool, though. It's very cool. So I guess I want to go back to the hybrid ceramic wax, or kind of that family of products. I guess the question I have for you guys is like, where does it go next? So like, I think of the SiO2 or ceramic technology as the new microfiber, the new clay bar. It's the new thing, right? And I think it's interesting. We've even seen kind of a dance away or a walk away a little bit from like professionally installed coatings. Not that we've walked away from it, but they're not as hot as like these spray-on coating maintenance products. Like, I almost think like the maintenance products are more popular than like the true ceramics, I guess. But where does it go from here?
Well, I kind of think back to when we jumped from carnauba to like polymers, synthetic polymers. You know, you think, okay, here's a new item. Maybe it's Ultimate Liquid Detail or Ultimate Liquid Wax. Oh, even NXT before then.
Oh, yeah, right.
Where do you take that technology and in a platform, where can it go? So those are the questions I think we're asking ourselves right now is, where does it make sense? Not just let's blister a bunch of new items out there, but where can we legitimately use SiO2 ceramic, air quote, to a benefit in that product?
Right.
And then are they ready for it? How does it get used? We're kind of back to what you talked about. Testing, how does it get used, all that. So
Do you think Meguiars has been able to establish itself as an industry leader because they don't? What's interesting to me is like a lot of other brands that have a lot of products get kind of like crapped on for PC, non-PC, for having too many products, right? But you look at a company like Meguiars and you guys have a ton of products, right? And probably more products than any other brand in the.
We've got a lot.
A lot, right? But no one. But Meguiars has positioned itself as a very reputable, quality brand, right? And do you think it's because when a new technology or a new segment like the ceramic comes out, you guys don't bombard like some other companies have, like a ceramic wash, a ceramic paste wax, a ceramic liquid wax, a ceramic waterless, a ceramic coating, a ceramic maintenance? Like, you guys take your time and kind of develop a coating product line. Like, I'm having a hard time with this interview.
you're struggling.
my God,
I wasn't
I've never
expecting
seen
this.
you. It's usually
I know.
Get some coffee.
Yeah, maybe I'm trying to like level up too high. I need to like dumb myself
Don't
down.
be afraid
But
that
like,
you're going to ask us a question that we can't answer.
Yeah.
Because if you ask that question,
You
we
just-
just
We'll just
Don't
be
let it-
silent. Yeah.
but do you think
This
Meguiars-
thing on. Hello.
But when you look at so many, I guess when you look at so many product lines that launch like a ton of ceramic stuff all at once, right? And Meguiars launches one, and maybe even at that a little late, right? Like maybe a little late to the ceramic party, right? But do you think Meguiars does that on purpose? Not on purpose, but like intentionally doesn't bombard. Like, you guys could have launched the ceramic soap at the same time and a ceramic quick detail spray to go with your ceramic. You know, it's like lay down the hybrid ceramic wax and then maintenance it with the soap and the quick detail spray, right? But do you think Meguiars has been able to establish itself as an industry leader by not doing that, when it seems like that is the obvious way to go?
Well, I don't know if there's really intentional thought about that and how it positions us necessarily. It's getting in and playing in a new segment kind of when we feel the time is right. I was talking to you just the other day, Mike, about the book that I've been reading on the history of Ferrari.
Okay.
And this is really kind of interesting stuff when you go back to the immediate post-World War II era sports car racing. Jaguar dominating at Le Mans. First ones to introduce disc brakes on their cars. The Mercedes were actually faster down the Mulsanne straight, but they still had drum brakes, so they had to get on the brakes way earlier.
Interesting.
Okay. In Formula One, when the British started putting the engine behind the driver, Enzo Ferrari was so adamant that the horse pulls the cart, it doesn't push it, and his engines were the best, and with the engine you do everything. And he was very resistant until the time came when you just couldn't compete anymore with a front-engined Formula One car. And they came out with their rear-engined or mid-engined F1 car. And the entire F1 community is like, yeah, whatever. We got another 3 years of domination. Whoa. This is their first effort, and what can they do? First time out, they win. That's just the first race. They win the World Championship first time out. So
the parallel to that's insane.
They may not have been the first ones
right.
with all of this stuff, but when they finally did it, they did it better than anybody else was doing it.
Whoa. That's a really nice parallel. You took a question and made it beautiful.
Better than everybody
Thank
every
you.
time? No, not necessarily.
Right.
Nobody's going to have that kind of a track record.
But keep in mind, we've had coatings, spray enhancers, and all that outside the U.S. for many years.
Yes.
So
why is that?
The market demanded it more so. Absolutely.
Got it.
It's interesting. The whole coating product segment really kind of developed in Asia, where the level of acid rain and smog is just off the charts.
Okay.
I mean, stuff today in, I believe, actually the top 20 worst smog cities in the world, I think 12 or 13 of them are actually in India. The others are in China, and then other parts of Southeast Asia from there. Worse than LA ever saw at its absolute peak in the 1970s. Okay. I mean, LA never saw it. I've seen, there's videos on YouTube of people driving around in some of these cities at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with their headlights on, because it's not fog.
Right.
It's smog. It's brown stuff hanging in the air.
My mom's told me some stories about they couldn't go outside and play some days because the lead in the air or whatever it was.
It's frightening.
It's scary,
And the acidity of the stuff that's hanging in the air gets washed out when it does rain. We're talking about places where it rains quite a bit.
Right.
So the water falling from the clouds, the rain falling from the clouds, picks up all this stuff, and you get a very high acid content. And then it sits on, a car that's parked. It gets rained out with this high acid content water landing on it. And it'll, you let it sit there. You think bird droppings can etch your paint pretty bad, because bird droppings contain a lot of the acidic juices in the bird's digestive tract. That's why they end up etching the paint.
Right.
Acid rain will do much the same thing. So the coatings were really developed to be a more durable sacrificial barrier than a carnauba wax or even a synthetic polymer. Okay, they're measurably thick, but they can still etch. But they're thicker, so they're more durable than wax or synthetic sealant.
Interesting.
But they're still sacrificial. And how many detailers do you know these days that are now talking to their clients about how to properly maintain your coating? You go back 3 or 4 years, and people were talking about paint coatings like they were. It was like Star Trek, Scotty, the Klingons are attacking, shields up,
Totally.
And it doesn't work that way.
Right.
I know detailers that have legit coatings on their own cars. They take the car to the dealership and they forget to tell the dealer, please don't wash my car. The dealership runs it through whatever contraption, scratches the living daylights out of.
Right.
Hopefully it's mostly just the coating.
Right.
But they've got to compound that whole thing off and do it all over again. Did it really get rid of just the coating, or did they go a little bit deeper than that? When you're looking at maybe 100 or maybe 200 nanometers thickness of a coating, how deep is the scratch? I don't know. Right. But even when I was in Malaysia, 3 years ago, did a detailing class for a Mercedes-Benz club. And like we always do even here, wanted to select a car to use as the demonstrator. And I go out and there's a black C-Class Benz that's got swirl marks galore, water spots, etchings from bird droppings, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the car I want to use for the demo, because it's just going to have a huge wow factor. So I grabbed one of the guys and said, can you find out who the owner is so we can ask him to invite him in to blah, 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 blah. They come back to me a couple minutes later and said, yeah, you can't use that car. It's got a coating on it. I said, okay, everybody, gather around. Let's get all you back in here. Is it just me, or is everybody else bothered by the fact that the car in the lot with the most jacked up paint is the one with a coating on it?
Nice pick.
This guy paid $1,700 and was basically told, I'm putting a coating on your car, you don't have to do anything to it anymore. How many times have we heard that? And we all know that's not how it works.
I even cringe at when people say, "Well, don't wax it," because I think like, and again, I'm not a chemist, so I don't know how all this plays together. I'm just happen to have a coated car and use spray wax on it, like. But I think like why? In my thought, it's like any protection is always good no matter what, right? So, do these products bond together? Do they play nicely together? I always think like, well, it's just a sacrificial layer, just like your clear coat is, right? Like.
To some extent,
It's just a lot thicker sacrificial true coating is a lot thicker.
But a spray wax is going to work on it, right? Regardless of like what coating brand you have. Like, oh, I have this coating brand on it, so I can't use a Meguiars spray wax. Like, it doesn't work like that, right? Okay.
Right. But remember, whatever the
I'm sure if I was crazy.
whatever the last product you put on the paint
Right.
is, that's going to give you whatever physical characteristics that product.
Right.
So if you've got an extremely hydrophobic product on the paint, like hybrid ceramic wax.
Okay.
And then you shoot another wax on top, another spray wax
Gold
on top
class,
of it.
per
It's,
se.
yeah,
Yeah.
like gold class. It's not as hydrophobic. You're going to lose some of the hydrophobic
Got it.
effect until that gold class wears off. So there's
Interesting you bring up gold class because the shampoo, a lot of people have issues with the shampoo hiding some of the hydrophobic effects of other products, right?
right.
So,
Yeah.
and then what'll be interesting on that is it's lower water beating, quote unquote.
Right.
As it fades away, your beating is going to come back,
Yeah.
Right.
which is opposite
Kind
of what you would
weird.
think.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
you can even lose water beating just due to road grime on the car.
Right.
And then you wash that road grime off and your beating
Reveals,
comes
yeah.
back. So
I've realized that in my test. Sometimes like degreasers will leave a film too. That'll hide it.
exactly, yeah. And then you've got, there could be a film of some surfactants that are left behind, and that's going to, those tend to be very hydrophilic. They attract water,
Right.
and water's going to lay in there on a sheet. And did whatever product you were testing against with an all-purpose cleaner, did the all-purpose
Right.
cleaner remove it, or did you leave some all-purpose cleaner behind?
Right.
And that's what, because all you've
It
done,
gets tricky.
all you've done
really
is
tricky.
change the surface tension.
Yep.
That's all you've done.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes I squeeze the trigger for the water more than less, so sometimes that plays into it too.
And,
So-
and when we look at hybrid ceramic wax specifically, when you overuse it and you get a little bit of streaking on the hood, or wherever else on the car. Why did I say on the hood? Why specific?
Well, because that's where you can always see
see
it
it
the most,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
but if you're getting that streaking, and you're also not getting the extreme water beating that you're expecting.
okay,
Okay, that's because the you look at any paint protection product at all. There's
Right.
carrier ingredients and there's active ingredients.
okay,
Okay. Let's go back to old school carnauba waxes.
okay.
We all know that you can't use carnauba straight off the plant. 'cause
Right,
It's gone wrong.
Right.
So
right.
it's refined. There are solvents that are
Right.
mixed in so that it's usable and spreadable. But you apply that old school carnauba wax, hopefully in a nice thin film. It
Circular
hazes over.
motions or straight motions?
Straight motions in the direction the wind blows over. I don't.
I got a comment this morning that was like, "Oh man, anyone could be a detailer. This guy's applying in circular motions," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah,
like,
because we'll go back
whatever.
to if the product you're using and the applicator you're using won't scratch the paint. I don't really care.
Right.
Right. Anyways,
yeah, sorry.
Anyways, but you apply however you apply that product. Do it on a DA and it's going to be a circular motion. Boom.
Thank
The
you
old
for clarifying.
carnauba waxes would haze over.
Right.
You get that white haze on.
Right.
And then you'd come back and you'd wipe it off with a towel, or you'd scrub it off with a towel, depending on how overly heavily you applied it.
Yep.
But it's the carrier ingredients that basically, some of them evaporate and some of them dry up, and you remove the leftover
Right.
carrier ingredients, and the active ingredients, the carnauba wax and whatever other silicones and stuff were in there, stay behind to protect the paint and give you whatever look it gives and all that kind of stuff. Then we moved to the next historical segment of that. We get into synthetic sealants, and they tend to behave a little bit differently. The synthetic polymers tend to attach themselves to the paint. By the way, our chemists hate it when we say bond, because a chemist thinks about literally a molecular bond, and it's not really possible with a catalyzed modern clear coat paint. It won't give up the electron. How deep you want to go, man?
This is already
That's as far as I
pretty
can go
deep.
because I'm not a chemist. but the technical terminology. Anyways, synthetic polymers, like our ultimate liquid wax, you can apply it to a panel at a time and wipe it off right away. It won't really haze over.
Okay.
You're still wiping off the excess carrier ingredients and leaving the actives behind.
Okay.
Just like you are with the carnauba, but it behaves a little bit
Sure.
differently, right?
Yeah.
So hybrid ceramic wax, there's carrier ingredients
Okay.
and there's the active ingredients. the chemistry is way, way advanced beyond what we've been using prior to it.
Okay.
So the active ingredients, as our chemists tell me, will attach themselves to the paint like now.
Okay. So it's instantly bonding.
Yeah, bonding's, they
Got
hate
it.
the word, but everybody uses the
attaching.
word.
It's
So-
attaching to the paint.
Yeah.
So it's
And-
protecting
yeah,
the paint
yeah,
immediately.
yeah. And the SiO2 technology
Okay.
actually gives a stronger attachment to the paint surface than other technologies.
Okay.
did. Okay. Now, the active ingredients are very hydrophilic. They love water.
Okay.
So if you rinse it away fairly forcefully, you grab all those active ingredients and spread them across the paint,
Okay.
but you grab all of the carrier ingredients and literally rinse them away.
Yeah.
It is the equivalent of you with a towel wiping away
Got
the
it.
carrier ingredients of a carnauba or a synthetic polymer. It's just the chemistry is so completely different
Interesting.
that you just kind of need this other process to do it. So if you don't have a pressure washer, we actually recommend getting an adjustable nozzle on a garden hose, and not going with the hard stream. Go with the flat fan spray.
Okay.
That kind of mimics a pressure
Right,
washer.
right.
Because you actually have a more concentrated and harder attack on, I don't want to say on a molecular level, but on a really
Yeah.
tighter level, and it actually does a better job. And don't think that you're going to over rinse. In this case, I can't
It's
believe I'm going to
almost
say
better,
it.
yeah.
More
It's
rinsing
be-
is
yeah,
actually
more
a little
rinsing's
bit better.
better.
It's actually
Really?
a little bit more
To
beneficial.
get rid of those carrier ingredients that are hydrophilic, grabbing the water,
Right.
flushed away, and
So
you're
if you-
spreading the actives.
If you have excess carrier ingredients on the surface, you can see some streaking potentially,
Right.
and you're going to have some excess hydrophilic
Right.
characteristics, so you're not going to get as much beating as you expect, which is why my friend up north, after it rained,
Right.
and the rain washed away the last of the carrier ingredients, he came back out and said, oh my God, the beating is just off the hook, man.
So because I did a test with laying down the foundational layer, rubbing it in, and then I did a test without doing that, which is contrary to the directions. I acknowledge that. Whatever, right? And I didn't really get any water beating behavior without laying down the foundational layer. Which my thought was like, well, that's a joke then. Like, if you have a foundational layer and then you spray the stuff and then rinse it, like, you're just rinsing money down the drain, right? Like, of course. But I wonder if I didn't rinse it thoroughly enough.
Probably not.
Because that was part of my test. Like, well, what if you don't want to lay down a foundational layer and you just want to spray it and rinse it?
We've done. I don't know that we publicly released the video on the Explorer hood that we did for international training.
No, we didn't release that. Yeah, it was more testing. Yeah,
Yeah, but it was more for like technical internal training.
Okay.
But what the gist of the thing is, so you got the hood of this big black vehicle, right?
Right.
You spray some water on it. Well, actually, we kind of show this in the Auto Geek video. You look at the water characteristics. You're getting some sheeting and some beading, right? So you can tell there's a little bit of protection on the
Right.
paint. Okay?
But Bare Clear Coat by itself kind of beads, sheets, kind of weird.
It's kind of
right?
a weird mix.
Yeah.
But you're not getting nice, really tight.
Right.
uniform. Okay.
There's a big, vast difference.
So
Yeah.
we spray the product, couple of trigger pulls on half of the hood of this big SUV.
Okay.
And then rinse it away from the untreated side.
Right.
Immediately, now when you hose it down, you're still seeing the big pools of water on the untreated side.
Okay.
But you're getting lots of beating on the treated side. Now, when we dried that, we did the first application is the foundational layer,
Right.
So we do a couple of trigger pulls, and then just immediately dried it with a microfiber drying towel. And there was a little tiny bit of streaking. If you a couple of the videos you can't really see it, but I did this hands-on training internationally in multiple countries around the world already, and I've gotten the exact same situation happening each time. Spray it on half the hood, dry it immediately. You get a little tiny bit of streaking, you spray water on it, already the beating is dramatic compared to what you have on the untreated side. Now do the standard application where you a couple of trigger pulls and then rinse it off thoroughly. Now when you go to dry it with a clean, drying towel, it's like one pass with a towel and it's the water's
Right.
just gone. It's
Yeah.
just gone.
Yep.
There's no streaking. The water, you could blow dry the car. You could very easily. Now when you get it wet, it's all really tight little beads of water,
Right.
and you can flush that water off with water.
100%. Yeah,
Interesting.
and that's some of the little tricks that's tough to put on a back label.
Right.
You know, how do you
Right.
share all that on a back label?
Six
You know?
page,
Yeah.
Right.
videos. on the
So-
label.
Yeah, like a label that like peel
that
off.
folds off.
Maybe we do start going
It's like
back
a
to
CVS
QR
receipt.
codes on the label, and you can just
Flip
hit
over
it with
to
your
a
phone.
Isn't it interesting? It's interesting to me that QR codes never took off like I
Because
thought
there
they
can
should
be
have.
huge power with them.
Yeah,
They really can.
I thought they were super cool,
Yeah.
especially with your phone now. You don't even need the app.
Times
You
are
can
different
put-
now, yeah.
It's
You
true.
could,
Maybe
you
it's
could look at this product in the store and just shoot it with
Mm-hmm.
your phone and go, "Oh my! Look at that video! That's cool, yeah." But
Interesting.
For as long as I've been doing training here, you know, one of the things, especially with people waxing their car, it's a common thing that people overuse. Okay, if some is good, more is better. And I've always said in the classes here that if some is good, more is better. Yes, if we're talking about horsepower or cash in my pocket.
right.
Okay? But when we're talking about,
Good point.
right, you want to put a leather conditioner on your car, do
Right.
you throw half the bottle on the driver's seat? No, of course not. If you load up, if you use half a bottle of Carnauba wax, you need a hammer and chisel to get
Right.
the stuff off.
Yeah.
Right? So with this, if you're going to overuse it, it's not going to be your best friend.
Which is contrary to a lot of the spray and rinse products that claim to do the same things as the hybrid ceramic wax. They want you to almost saturate the whole panel and then thoroughly rinse. Not so you're using. That was one thing I didn't like about the couple other products that I used. I'm like, I used 8-10 ounces of this product on one car.
one
It's
car,
like
yeah.
this is so inefficient and cost prohibitive to do this upon customer cars.
It's
crazy.
And here we are with a product that what the per ounce cost tends to be quite a bit less than a lot of the competition.
Because what does it retail for? Like
$14.99.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So even and so many comments that I've read on your review and others' reviews, even if one of the other products outperforms us by 5%,
right.
everybody's comment is, yeah, but the Meguiar stuff is so much more cost effective.
Yeah.
I could use it every time I wash
Right.
my car.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yay for our team.
Yeah.
Our guys over in the other building are pretty doggone.
What's in that other building?
Right.
I always wanted to know that.
In the other building? The other building that you were just in? That we hustled you
I
through
wasn't
and
going to
wouldn't
say
let you
anything.
go upstairs?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gaining access slowly. Before it was like, yeah, we'd like do stuff over in that other building. I'm like, okay, cool. And today I saw the ground floor, and maybe in 5 years I'll see the
The
top
second floor, yeah.
No.
Never.
Blindfolded, maybe.
Blindfold.
Yeah.
That's funny. Is there anything else that we didn't cover about that product or any other? I mean, I looked over and I'm like, oh crap, there's all the new products. But I mean, we could talk endlessly forever. But is there any kind of important things that you want to make sure, maybe misconceptions that have been out there, or just anything at all that you want to kind of make sure that the three people listening here?
It's not a coating.
It's not a coating.
It's
Right.
not designed to replace a coating, and
It's a
don't
great-
use too much.
It's a great
Okay.
maintenance
Yeah.
product
For a
any
coating.
coating on the market.
Or wax
Got
for
it.
that
Yeah,
matter.
or wax.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think, and maybe I said this in my video, maybe I didn't, but I think like the term ceramic wax, I actually think helps professional detailers. So I think a lot of people got like weird about like, oh, is this gonna, like, professionals are like, this is like an attack on us. And I'm like, I actually thought it from the beginning as kind of a bridge. Like it gets the term ceramic in everyone's
It's going to drive more awareness.
it's going to drive awareness, right? Well said. Like it's actually going to help professionals, not hurt them, right? Because people are going to start questioning, what is a ceramic? What is, because people still think clay bars remove scratches, right? They don't
Shocking,
even know what it
yes,
does,
yeah.
but they want it, right?
We still get people to call us up and say, hey, I just put a sealant on my car. What wax do I need now? Synthetic sealant is a man-made wax. You don't need both.
Right.
I mean, rock on if you want to use
Right.
them both. We're fine with that. Really, you want to buy Ultimate Wax and Gold Class?
Go
and use
for it.
one- We're happy
Yep.
with that.
Yep.
As long as you use them right. Which is
Yeah.
why, right, we were talking about education
Right.
earlier on. Was the mic on? We were talking
I
about
don't know.
education. I don't remember
We've talked
anymore.
about so much.
But-
I don't
but
even.
we've
I'm not
been-
sure what I should talk about and what I shouldn't. That's probably why I'm stumbling over my words. I'm like, wait, can I talk about that? What?
Meguiars has always been really big on education. And apparently with you, we're big on confusion.
which is very evident. I think the mic was off because I mentioned
Yeah.
you guys seem so polished, right? And we went down that rabbit hole. Of
That's
being
right. Pun
polished.
intended.
Pun intended, even though it wasn't intended.
But the whole education thing is really huge because it doesn't matter how good anything in the bottle is if you don't use it right. None of it's magic.
No matter what brand it is.
right? Same thing. I gripe on that with detailers. It's like it matters that you're a good detailer, but at the end of the day, if you can't get a customer, no one gets to see how good you are, right? Same thing.
Right.
You seem to not agree with that, but
No,
that's okay.
I do agree because we see all these questions, especially from newcomers. They're like, "What's the best product to use to get rid of what?" It's like, oh, so if you've got
It's like define best.
if you've got etchings and bird drop, if you've
Right.
got etchings and swirl marks on a black 2017 Ford Explorer,
Right.
you need brand X compound Y. Well, no, it doesn't work that way because 9 guys are going to answer with 9 different products,
100%.
and they're all skilled at what they do.
Yep. And they're all right.
They'll all make them look great.
Yep.
Back in the days when the old wax wars on
Oh
forums.
my goodness,
Remember?
wax
So
wars, yes.
You get 9 guys would come in with 9 different waxes, and they'd show 9 different pictures of cars that all look absolutely spectacular. And like nobody ever chimed in and went, "Well, your answer right there is it really doesn't matter if you know what you're doing." But no, everybody's going to have their personal favorites.
Yep.
Right. We'd get into talking about waxes in the Saturday classes, and I'd look at 3 guys and go, "Okay, what kind of steak do you like?" The guy's like, "New York strip." Go to the next guy. "What kind of steak do you like?" "Prime rib." Go to the next guy. "What kind of steak do you like?" So you could cut that meat all from the same cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys are each going to be picky about
great
which
point.
one you prefer.
Yep.
And even if you all wanted the same cut of meat, you want it rare, medium rare, or well done.
Right.
If you want it well done, I'm not even going to talk to you any further because that's crazy. That's a terrible thing to do to a good piece of meat.
That's called beef jerky.
Yeah.
But we can all have preferences.
Right.
And what matters is how you use it. Okay, you've got to have good technique.
So you're saying you got to
Your skill
use
set's
it
gotta be
before
there.
you can have an opinion?
I'm not going down that dark avenue. I
Ba-da-ba.
know where you're headed with that, my friend. That's why we're so big in education.
Got it.
Because the people that really, really have a problem with hybrid ceramic wax, when we really push them talking to them, and it's not their fault. It's a new process to them. It's a different way of doing things. And they've been doing it for a long time. And now we're saying
You got to have certain expectations,
it
right?
does the same thing. It does it a little bit better.
Right.
But you need to use it in a very different way. Some people struggle with that, and others are like, "Oh, cool." Some people embrace new technology, and others not so much.
Right.
So we're here to help.
I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to do another podcast from SEMA on the 5th or 6th or whenever and see what comes down
What are
the
you
pipe.
saying? What are you saying?
Well, we always introduce new products, and he's going to be happy to talk.
There
about
you
That's
go.
it.
Whatever those new products.
That's
may
it.
be.
I'm
So you need to
excited.
bring snippets from this
Yes.
session
Well, yeah.
to SEMA and go, well,
Yep.
at this
You said-
1429, you
Yes,
said
yes.
November 5th.
Yes,
and here
tell
we
me.
are.
I want to know. But well, with that, guys, I appreciate your time. I want to
I
thank
don't
you.
know. What time is it? Is
What
it?
time is it?
It's, I don't
Wow.
know, we've gone almost an hour.
That's good.
Yes.
Time that
So-
perfect. Well done, sir.
That's how I like to do it. I was going to say, I guess, how can people follow you, find you on social if you want to be on social, if you're just at Meguiars?
Well, Meguiars through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Meguiarsonline.com.
Yep.
Meguiars.com will basically link you to all of that stuff, right?
Can they buy it direct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Meguiars Direct.
Kind of like the part number, like, why is it called that? It's like, well, we ran out of 80, so we just went to
God, I had to go to 3 digits. That's it? That's pretty scientific.
Yeah. So Meguiars Direct, they can get it. But yeah,
And they can also call into our Solutions Hub at what 800-547?
800-347-5700.
there you go.
And we've also got live chat now, which is
Oh, cool.
up and
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
started that up and running like a year ago or so.
Something like that, yeah.
Talk to Brendan or Lance up there. So live chat us.
Got it?
Yeah.
Nice.
And when you call in, you're literally getting the guys upstairs from where we're sitting right now.
Got it.
It's not some offshore place with some
That
dude
upstairs
with a,
I've been to.
Yeah.
with a funky accent named Steve.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're and we were talking about this too earlier with education. Even internally, we worked those guys over pretty hard for
Yeah.
a couple of months before we cut them loose. So we like people knowing what they're talking about.
And Thursday nights, right? Still
Still
local?
Thursday nights, Saturday classes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're local to Southern California or want to travel
Or if
in.
you're on vacation.
And those are free, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Still.
I mean,
That's a good price,
That's
isn't it?
insane.
Big believing in just sharing education.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
You keep saying it earlier.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All righty.
Thank you, Jimbo.